Mijn naam is Pim.
En ik ben Armen.
Samen hebben we besloten een aantal LHBT+'ers die hier als vluchteling zijn gekomen op te zoeken. Want
vluchteling is een naam, dat geven ze aan ons. Maar er zit altijd verhalen achter die naam. Dus we gaan vandaag
naar Nancy. Kom op. Kun je jezelf eerst even kort introduceren?
Ja, ik ben Nancy. Ik ben 27 jaar oud. Ik kom uit Libanon. Ik woon in Nederland sinds 3 jaar. Ik ben nog steeds bezig met Nederlands leren. Dus ja, ik kan Nederlands, maar niet heel goed.
Hoe was het om in Libanon op te groeien?
I grew up in a Muslim family, a conservative family. I basically had a really good relationship with my family. Everything was fine. I had always questions about religion, and I'm like a person that would ask a lot, and I was not easily convinced by the answers they gave me when we discussed about religion. But that was okay until I discovered that I'm trans, and I came out to them, and yeah, I was shocked by their reaction. I didn't know that they can be that hard. I thought that my parents love me and they're gonna love me no matter what. I had this idea, and I think then the struggle started. So I can say somewhere between the age of 14 and 15.
How did that go?
Yeah, of course there was suicide attempts. That's normal. Like if you get rejected by the most loved people around you, you would of course try to suicide. It didn't work, so I'm still here. And my mom had cancer. She passed away when I was around the age of 16, so that had like a bit of an effect on this story because yeah, it kind of changed the relationship with my siblings and my father in the family. My siblings are all older than me, and they are married, so I was basically living with my mom and dad. I decided to leave home at the age of 17 and to go live alone. Yeah, and then I have more freedom. A trans person cannot have a life in Lebanon, just in general. And if you ask me what is that, I would say cannot have work, cannot have education, cannot get access to healthcare, many aspects of life. So basically, trans people in Lebanon are living at nights, mostly sex workers. The most I know, and I also was an activist and volunteer with HELM. It's an NGO in Lebanon for LGBT rights. And we did a lot of work with trans people, so I used to just go and meet trans people and talk to them and hear their stories. And it is really not good. Well, I had also some privilege over the other trans, that I was still getting financial support from my dad to do my studies. That was really like a privilege for me. But at the same point, I couldn't express my gender the way I wanted if I still want to have contact with my family. So that was also putting a lot of pressure on me. At the age of 23, I felt that I cannot keep on going like that, living like not expressing my gender the way I wanted. And I'm mentioning this because, you know, like the suicide rate for trans people are really high. Some studies showed that it's as high as 50%. So imagine like half of the trans people end up suiciding, and that means something. So I had two options, either to not express my gender identity or to have a life of a sex worker and, you know, like not living safely and just living at night and hiding and running. And both for me were not an option. So I decided to just get a way out, which is suicide. But when it didn't also work, because I'm really like a coward.
You said you become an activist and you really wanted to protect or give other people like you voice.
Yeah.
Didn't that give you some hope?
Yeah, that was actually also a way to protect myself. You know, I was trying to play the role of the mature trans that give other trans people information. HELM, for me, was a life savior. They also saved my life because if this organization didn't exist, they did a lot of work in the community. Not only for Lebanon, also for the entire Arab world, because, for example, just one example of the things they did, they created the terminology in Arabic for the LGBT people, which we didn't have before. So we only had like words like pervert or faggot, and these words were used in the news to describe something related to LGBT. So they created, like, they hired some people that know about the Arabic language, and they created terminology for all the members of the LGBT community. And they imposed, of course, not in all the countries, but for example, in Lebanon, and now in some other countries like Tunisia, they imposed that they use these terms in the media. It gave me, of course, not only hope, it gave me like empowerment and strength, of course. And this is the reason why I could have actually arrived here, because at the age of 23, when I decided to end my life again and when it didn't work, also with the help of organizations, I was able to get a visa to come to the Netherlands and ask for asylum.
So in these 3 years that you live here, what are some of your best experiences?
I participated in a festival as volunteer. That was Oerol op Terschelling.
Nice.
And it was magical, to be honest. To be like, the idea of the island was always like so interesting for me, just to be in an island. And we were camping, of course, and that was the first time I camped in my life. I spent 10 days there in a tent on Terschelling. And yeah, of course, I was also working on a bar, I partied. I can say that that was like the most beautiful memory I had in the Netherlands. Why did I come to the Netherlands? The reason is that I heard that it's one of the most European countries that gives rights to the LGBT. And it's the first country that allowed gay marriage. And you know, I had a lot of expectations. Like, I thought, okay, so I'll come to this country and all my problem would be solved because I would be socially accepted, legally accepted. So I had a lot of expectations, and it's always a problem when you have expectations. Believe me,
never had expectations.
Yeah, I never had high expectations.
Because
maybe
what
a little
follows
bit.
is disappointment.
I walked in the streets. I felt freed after a lot of years of oppression. But that was just, you know, like a 2 days feeling. Because I stayed in Amsterdam like for 2 days. The suffers and the pain started when I went to Ter Apel. I noticed that the way that the people responsible for the camp, the COA, the way they treat the people coming is really inhumane. Like, they treat these people as if they are...
Numbers?
Yeah, numbers. And not so human, to be honest.
Yeah.
I just applied for a touristic visa. So it's also a legal way to come here.
Right.
But that's actually pretty hard. Like, you have to present so much documents to prove that, that you have a job and that you have money. And I got some help also from friends. So eventually I also was protected from the suffering of, you know, like going through Turkey. And because I know that after living in the AZC and meeting a lot of refugees, I know that it can be like so hard. Yeah, it was a bit traumatizing, actually.
Can you name one example?
You know, I ran away from a certain group of people, and I just find them again in the AZC. And these people are, I can call them like people that are not tolerant to LGBT. And they just place me with these people. And, you know, like, to live in an AZC is not just like to live here. In a regular society. It's just that you have to share the kitchens, you have to share the places, sometimes even you have to share the rooms. And here also I blame the COA.
COA in Dutch is Centraal Orgaan Asielzoekers. So this is the organization that helps refugees to find their own places, but also to organize all the AZCs, the
basically,
camps.
yeah.
Right.
Basically, they do everything in the camp.
True. And their justification was that people who are LGBT and who fled their countries and they came to the Netherlands, they all have to share the real, a community. And we put them in camps together with other people. That's the real community, they say. But that's not true, because we are actually fleeing from these people around us who are causing us a lot of trouble and unacceptance. And coming here and putting only with these people in one place is not the right way to do things. So I mean, the community is more diverse here in the Netherlands. You have a lot of friends and people can help you, but these people are not in the AZC themselves. So I totally understand your frustration.
I get so much discriminated. This is like intersectionality, having multiple double minorities or multiple marginalized identities. But yeah, it feels like that you cannot do it. I feel that nobody cares and that I have to do everything myself. And I'm actually getting used to solve my problems myself. Like, I know that I have to do a lot of effort to just get the basic things. For example, my healthcare. And I think that it does have to do something with the fact that there is transphobia within the system and there is racism within the system. And these all things contribute that I end up at the end of the day not having my basic rights, healthcare, education. I'm not gonna ask from the police to protect me anymore. I find it actually so sad to say this.
It is, yeah.
Because for me it's one of the reasons why I decided to come here.
For me, when I got here, of course, the best moment was to celebrate the gay pride for the first time. And I indeed saw people dancing, wearing some crazy costumes and like drinking in the middle of Dam Square. But on the other hand, when I look at the sky, I felt like I am celebrating actually freedom for myself. How was it for you?
Yeah, it does actually feel like freedom, and it does give empowerment to the LGBT people. I think it was 2018 for me, the first Pride in my life. I was so excited, but when I was there and I saw everybody like celebrating and dancing, I felt that I still don't feel safe sometimes walking in the streets. I still have basic things that I cannot get, and yeah, I felt a bit sad.
Right, I see, I understand. Will there be a moment that you think that you will party, you will have the best gay pride and you don't have to worry about these moments anymore?
Yes, I hope.
Good.
I hope. If you have any other option, you would not choose to be a refugee. You would not choose, for many reasons. Like, I'm so proud that I'm a refugee. I'm not saying that it's something to be ashamed of, but it's not like something that you choose, that I just want to come here to have some, I want to come here just to have some luxury and some money, and it doesn't work like that. For me, it's like I had to suffer so much leaving the country where I grew up in. And if I had an option, or if I know that I am safe, or as a trans person I can live there, I would just go back to today.
You said no one cares. We do care. There are a lot of people care.
Yes,
honestly.
of course.
And what you're doing is really good, and you have to show this to people, because you are still fighting your own fight indeed, and getting to higher positions, continuing your masters. I'm so proud of you doing that. Honestly.
What would you advise people in the Netherlands who are facing some of the same stuff that you are facing?
So I tell them to be patient and definitely to reach out. Don't just stay there in your rooms with your depression, with your sadness. Reach out. There are a lot of organizations like Trans United, COC Nederland have more than one group that support LGBT bicultural people. Yeah, you can find a lot of groups, a lot of NGOs that are doing amazing work for the LGBT, and personally I get a lot of support from these groups. So reach out, don't stay alone, and have hope.
Die andere beroemde mensen uit Libanon.
Oh ja, ja natuurlijk. Met Sajam.
Wat doe je met het liedje?
ما تيجي هنا وانا اقول لك.
Ja,
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for coming. It was so nice to have you. Okay, have a nice day. Bye, bye, bye.